You're listening to Bros Let's Talk.
Hey, it's Bros Let's Talk. Pat here with Jimmy and Andy. How we doing, gentlemen?
What's up, fellers?
Beachy.
Y'all are probably wondering what's going on with you guys. We released last week's episode a week late, and now, you know.
What could have possibly happened?
What happened? What were we
happened?
doing?
Wow, something crazy happened, okay?
That's wild.
66.666 repeating percent of the podcast that's here live, and 50% of the podcast, including Sean, are now dads because Alyssa, my wife, my beautiful wife, gave birth to our beautiful baby daughter, Kelly Noel, on December 14th, 4 weeks early.
Yep.
So unexpected in the sense that she came earlier than we were expecting, but very welcome to have her before Christmas, and it was really awesome to have her here for the holiday and just being a dad now.
Tax deduction.
That's what everyone kept saying to us. Like, and we got it, baby. So, but yeah, just overall, being a dad is basically all those cliche things that people tell you about being a parent and having a baby. It's all true.
It's all true.
It's basically, it's all true. Like, oh, your life's going to change when you see your kid. Yeah, it did. And it changed forever. And I got this awesome gift, which I'm excited to start using in 2021 from my sister-in-law, Emily. Dad jokes. 365 days worth of them for the 2021 year. It's a perfect way to start my first full year of fatherhood. So, but now that me and Alyssa have been home for a few weeks now, we've gotten settled into a nice routine. I'm able to kind of start
Is that a Freudian slip saying getting celibate?
So it's been a whirlwind of a few weeks, but now I'm trying to get back to some normalcy. So back to the pod. But that's why we didn't have an episode last week, and our episode from 2 weeks ago was released late because while all of our stuff was exporting, Alyssa's water broke, and then never got around to finishing it. So
hold on, babe. I gotta push this out.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Babe,
Can you hold on just a little while longer?
But it's so yeah, we got some stuff. We've got other stuff we want to talk about though. The Bears control their own destiny, so we're going to talk about that. We are going to do our final Mando Monday, recapping the finale of season 2 because it was a good one. And then we're also going to do some brief, no spoiler movie reviews, very generalized movie reviews, because both of you haven't seen one of the movies, and one of you hasn't seen the other movie. And I've seen both movies. So
Pat, with all his newfound time that he has,
crank
out 2 movies.
Just lay there with the baby on my chest and watch movies. 2 movies. I watched a lot more than 2 movies in the last few weeks. Kelly's already seen the prequel trilogy of Star Wars.
Nice.
So, all right, let's start with Mando Monday then, I guess, because this is the last one for some time.
It's just another Mando Monday. I wish it were every day, but this is the way. Recap of the episode day. It's just another Mando Monday.
All right, we're going to keep this kind of brief because, like I said, we're a little bit late to the party. So this episode aired 2 weeks ago now, right? 2 Fridays ago?
That is correct.
It was the Friday before Christmas, the 18th. And where we left off last, basically Mando told Moff Gideon he was on the way. This episode, he showed up. They fought.
Pretty cool battle.
Pretty cool battle. Mando disarmed Moff Gideon, and similar to like the Elder Wand in Harry Potter, That's how it works, I guess, is that whoever disarms the person yielding the dark saber is then the owner of it. So Mando is now the owner of the dark saber. Seemed like they were trapped. Dark troopers coming to F them up, and then Grogu's call was answered, and pretty awesome scene.
Very
and
awesome
entrance, and Luke Skywalker shows up, fecks up all the dark troopers, comes and basically says he'll take Grogu and train him, and we had this very sweet. As I watched this, I had Kelly on my chest, and I shed a tear as for
Like,
the
fuck
second
you, Luke. No one's coming to take my child.
second episode in a row that Mando takes his helmet off and shows his face. This time, too, no hesitation, and takes it off in front of quite a few people. So it was very powerful, though, in the moment. Last time he's seeing Grogu for now, but may possibly ever, for all we know.
Before we
No
go
way.
on, have you heard that I guess Pedro Pascal and Disney, the Mandalorian writers, were having issues because he wants more time with his helmet off, and they're like, no, that's not the story.
That's the point.
So what I read, and I'm still working to confirm this, was that the last couple episodes, he hasn't even been on set. He's just done his voice work, and it's been the body double or whoever else is in the suit that's been primarily in the suit, and he hasn't even been on set. So there was
because he's pissed?
Because he's pissed.
Ooh, shit. I don't like that.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I don't know.
you kind of know that when you take this role on him, though.
Well, right. So that's the
You've got
the
a
whole
guy
thing,
that wears a helmet the whole time.
Yes.
I hope you're okay with that.
Yes,
Yep, got it.
and
Good.
that-
Sounds good.
Sounds good. A
That
couple
was-
creative points, though. How about he
I'd
doesn't
like to
always
take
wear
the
the
helmet
helmet?
off.
right. So the article
See-through
said
helmet?
that was stated. That was well known. He knew that's what the case was going to be, and then I think this. I mean, they knew the show would be good, but it blew up a little bit more. Maybe not more, but it blew up maybe quicker than they thought it would, and he wants his face shown more. And they're like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." So, and also fun fact, I believe it's John Wayne's grandson who does his body double.
I did know that.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Really
it's grandson.
weird.
Or
I think it's his
there's a
grandson.
connection.
So tied into my Wonder Woman generalized review later,
I hear the baby.
I also would want my face shown more on The Mandalorian if I was Pedro Pascal after playing the character he did in Wonder Woman.
I heard he did a great job.
I thought he was fine. He was like acting wise, but we'll get into that later.
If
Stick
I was
to
Pedro
Mando for now.
Pascal, I would probably want more roles where I didn't have to show my ugly mug. But that's just me.
I guess. I mean, I guess if you're an actor though, like you just want your face to be seen.
Yeah,
True.
especially because it's blowing up.
Right.
Wouldn't that be funny if he how people don't want to be typecasted into their roles?
He
doesn't want to be typecasted
He was a
into
helmet guy.
somebody that always wears a helmet.
He's gonna be they're gonna put him in the next Dread,
Oh,
and then he'll be RoboCop, and basically just any helmeted character. Oh, that would be hilarious. Yeah, dude, you're just ugly. I don't know how to tell you this, except I want to put a mask on your face in every movie you're in.
So the episode itself kind of went a little bit opposite of what I thought, where I thought the Darksaber was going to be. I thought it was going to be able to cut through. What's the metal called?
The
Belsar?
yeah.
Yes.
Beskar.
Beskar. That's it.
Yeah.
NASCAR?
Beskar, right?
Yeah, that's it. Turns out it's the opposite, where it doesn't. It cuts through everything.
The only
But
thing.
Don't do shit.
That's what I was thinking. Actually, it was funny. Everything opposite of what we said a couple weeks ago is what ended up happening.
Mhm.
It felt
Yeah.
like.
I thought the episode was great. The music for when the Dark Troopers were getting like booted up was awesome.
Yeah, pretty
I
awesome.
wanted like 5 more minutes of just that music playing.
That was pretty sweet.
Ludwig Göransson's a fucking beast. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
Yeah, the music's been great all the way through, I think. But that especially, there's been certain parts where it's extremely noticeable, and that being one of them for sure.
And that was such a different type of music too. That was almost like your like electronic, like deep bass, and man, that was
so pumped though for like what was about to happen, even though it was at the time it was dire situation for the heroes. I hate Cara Dune.
Really?
Yeah.
I think she's the worst character on the show. I can't stand her. I think it's the actress more than anything. I feel like with the right actress, that character would be fine. But especially now, this episode, they're just using her for like cheap one-liners about like Star Wars like lore. You know, she's just like, I don't even understand what she's saying, and
she's not great.
She's not great.
And it's so noticeable amongst other good actors and actresses too.
Right, exactly.
Like it'd be something else if like she's in the Expendables 5 where it's all a bunch of wrestlers and
she
action hero stars. Right, exactly. But yeah, it's pretty noticeable that she's a step below.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely not a great actress, but
no. But after that, it was like the whole Luke reveal I was blown away because the X-Wing came through and I was like, damn, that better not be Luke. And then like he stepped out.
Green saber though,
the green saber, and then
the glove.
There was the glove was the big one, where I definitely knew it, but the whole time I was like, there's no way it's Luke. There's no way it's Luke. There's no way it's Luke. And then like they kind of showed, and he was like, he looked really young, and it didn't really like process to me that this is set shortly after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So I was like, man, maybe this is another like Clone Wars Jedi or something like that I just don't know about. And man, that reveal when he took off his hood was again, like when I saw the glove, it was game over, but that reveal was awesome.
Yeah.
And Pat and I talked about it briefly, but the CGI isn't like the greatest thing when they've done the young characters when they did Leia in Rogue One.
Yep. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and
the Irishman. Oh my gosh, it was so bad.
I get it in theory, and it's cool. Like the idea is really cool that they can do that. But like there's no way that they could have a lasting character like that.
I was gonna say, they could never do a series where it was
right.
So there's been rumors, and this has long been something the fans have been calling for, that Disney is interested in doing a Luke Skywalker series when he's younger, and they're trying to get Mark Hamill to sign off on Sebastian Stan playing him because there's all these photos of him with like that haircut, and he looks, the guy who plays Bucky in Captain America, Winter Soldier, he does kind of look like like a young Mark Hamill. So this might be an interesting.
I could see that.
This might be a hot take. I don't know yet because I don't know how you guys feel about it. I don't think that Mark Hamill was that good of an actor in the Star Wars movies. Like, he's totally built his career and fame, or at least the first one in A New Hope.
I don't think anybody was really good actors or actresses back then. Like, especially for a low budget.
I guess that's true. I just feel like Mark Hamill now is like a way better actor than he was then, and like
he's a better voice actor than he is a regular actor.
He is the best Joker in my opinion.
Big time.
But it's just, I don't know, it's just funny to think about because Star Wars is just so huge. But yeah, when you watch it back, and a part of it for me is like the time difference, you know what I mean? Like it's still, the plot line is still really good to me, but I just naturally enjoy movies that are more recent than like even watching the prequel trilogy when I watched it over like last week.
Even that's super dated.
Yeah, even the CGI in that looks like, I'm like, man, this would be so much better now.
Yep.
And that's another thing with all the excitement surrounding Hayden Christensen coming back to play Darth Vader.
I am not excited
He
about
was
that.
not good at all in those
No,
movies.
he's
so
horrible.
bad. The best part though is after Obi-Wan cuts his legs off in the higher ground scene, and he's just like has the whole big thing. He's just like, I hate you, and he just bursts into flames and starts on fire. It's great. But yeah, not a great actor. And then he just disappeared after that.
So we, now that we're recording this, if we would have recorded at our normal time, we wouldn't have gotten the details that we did after. There was a post-credit scene where it teases the new Boba Fett show called Book of Boba.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a obviously Boba Fett centric TV show that comes out December of 2021, I believe.
Yep.
So we were all talking about it. There were rumors, or at least it was our speculation, that they were just pivoting the Mandalorian storyline over to now it's just a Boba Fett show.
That's how it felt.
Mandalorian was ending. It did feel that way. I agree.
Well,
when
Jim,
you told me that,
go ahead.
when you told me that, Pat, I didn't really think about it that way. But then when you said that, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like they kind of closed the door. But the more I thought about it, they really played up the Darksaber and Bo-Katan storyline to kind of take that next step. Like there's no reason that they would have talked about the whole like, oh, now that you can't just take it or hand it off, like it needs to be
Right.
wielded by the person
Definitely.
that defeats that person.
Well, and that was the thing. They definitely kept the door open, but I also felt like they left the ending to where they could have just ended his like storyline there and moved on if they. And now that Jimmy's talking about him having all these issues with Disney and not being on set because he doesn't want to wear his mask, maybe they're just keeping that like as an ace in their back pocket to where if he starts to get difficult, they're like, all right, well, fuck it, we'll just move forward with the Book of Boba Fett, and like I said to you, we'll just do like an anthology series of different Mandalorians.
I thought that regardless of if there were any issues or not, they should have ended the show right. That is the perfect ending for that show, in my opinion. And I know they have season 3 set up nicely, but you're not going to break.
Well, that's what I mean. It would have been a perfect pivot point to do like an anthology like series. So it's like, okay, you had this really good 2-season storyline, and now let's focus on Boba Fett next year or for the next 2 seasons.
I feel like the buildup would have needed to be greater if that was how they ended the Mandalorian storyline, though, because it was at the end of it when he handed him off, I was shocked.
Yeah,
like that. And then when I had the faint idea that this was how it was ending, that would have felt very quick and abrupt to me, at least.
Yeah.
Agreed that it would have been a good kind of story close off, but to just leave the character right there and not like, yes, the story with Grogu is closed off, or I don't think it is. I think he's definitely going to come back in season 3, but that little story arc definitely kind of closed off. But the whole character, if you were to end that right there, I think that would have felt very fast and abrupt.
Well, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We didn't even think that the battle between him and Moff Gideon was going to happen this season.
No,
we weren't sure. Leak. So to me, that was a huge surprise. And I actually, so I thought it was a great episode with the reveal, but I was a little bit underwhelmed with the just like the length, I guess, of the battle with Moff Gideon. Like there was he's been this overarching villain for 2 seasons.
Yeah,
and
he was a bit of a letdown.
It was like a 2-minute fight scene maybe. And then just this was the first time I feel like in the 2 seasons where they felt like they were rushing storyline in a particular episode. Like everything was going so fast. And then it's kind of the nature of the show, but it's like, it just felt like they were building up to this moment for so long. They should have kind of like dragged it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Or at least not even dragged it out, but just kind of, it should have been a more significant moment. But then I think maybe now in saying that they probably wanted to save the big moment for the reveal. So, but yeah, obviously we'll see what happens with season 3. And now we get another spinoff show with the Book of Boba Fett. Just add it to the list of spinoff shows that are coming your way in the coming years. So that's exciting. And so we will retire Mando Monday for now.
And you know that there's
year.
going to be crossover too.
Yeah.
Like, because that's the exact same timeline.
Well, that's another thing I was thinking with the Dark Saber and Bo-Katan. Like, now would they have the Ahsoka series starting? Like, I'm sure they'll work that in at a certain point.
I think so too. I think there's going to be a lot of
crossover.
cameos and crossover. Either
like
if it's
Mando
in
will show up in one of those shows for sure for like a little one-off. So it's exciting, very exciting. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau about to change the game.
Yep.
And we've got our first Marvel series coming out June 15th with WandaVision, which I still don't really know.
I still have no idea how I feel
I'm
about
gonna
that.
watch
I'm gonna
it,
watch. I'll give it a
I'm
try.
Excited for
when is it?
No idea.
January 15th.
January 15th.
And I don't know for sure, but I think they're doing week to week, similar to what The Mandalorian did.
Cool.
So that'll be our next thing. We'll start talking about the Marvel shows, but for now, Mando Monday is retired. What a great 8 weeks it's been.
Definitely. Yeah, it was. Very
Okay.
nice. Enjoyed it.
So awesome. The Bears beat the Jaguars pretty handily today. 41-17 final tally, I believe.
Yep.
And they scored 30 points plus for their 4th straight game. And with the Cardinals' loss to the 49ers yesterday, they now control...
No thanks to Robbie Gould, you dickhead.
They control their own playoff destiny. They sit at 8-7 right now. They play the Packers next week, who are at halftime of their Sunday night game against the Titans right now. Still trying to lock up the number 1 seed for them, so they still have a lot to play for.
An update, Jared Goff has a broken thumb and will not play next week.
Dang.
Which, I don't know if that hurts or helps us, because he was atrocious.
Who's their backup?
The AAF leader in passing yards or touchdowns. I'm going to find his name for you right now. John Wolford, the former AAF passing touchdown leader with the Arizona Hotshots, is a talent who has teammates intrigued, according to Ian Rappaport. That's good enough for me, fam.
Hey,
sign me up.
Played for the Hotshots. That's good enough for me.
Now, I will say Arizona just lost to CJ Beathard and in a banged up Niners offense.
Next week?
And yeah, they're playing the Rams.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Yeah, the Rams are playing Arizona.
Right.
So and I'm saying Arizona
all that
just
matters
lost to
is
an
if the Bears
inferior
win,
defense.
they're in.
Right.
And it's a tough matchup against Green Bay, who obviously is the number 1 seed in the NFC and are looking good tonight. But the Bears, like we mentioned, have been playing much better, especially offensively, pretty much ever since they've put Sam Mustipher and Alex Bars in the lineup.
And Bill Lazor started calling the plays, and Mitch came back in.
Yeah, so, I mean, Mitch is still good for 1 to 2 just really dumb,
stupid
throws
plays.
a game that you shouldn't make.
Only had one this game, but it was god-awful.
Terrible throw.
Terrible.
Every time I see him make a bad
Terrible.
play, I always think of the Not Another Teen movie, where the guy leans back, he goes, Mitch.
Yeah, Mitch,
Yeah.
cut it out.
No,
That's
great.
awesome. But didn't hurt them. They actually, I think they rattled off like 31 straight points or 30 straight points after Mitch threw that interception. So didn't come back to hurt them, but obviously down the stretch against good teams, and if you are lucky enough to get into the playoffs, can't have those kind of plays. You got to tighten that up.
No.
But it's just, to me, it's still crazy to think that we're sitting here having this conversation after 3 weeks. 2 episodes ago, our episode was called Fire Everyone. That was the title of the episode.
Well,
And
that's when they lost to the Lions, correct?
yeah.
And now here we are had we won that game, we would have clinched today. Like we would have blown out the Jags and clinched, but we didn't. So credit to Nagy and the coaching staff for righting the ship. And even though they lost, that was the start of the 30 plus points per game streak that they're on right now. They've been running the rock with David Montgomery. I think there's only 2 or 3 running backs in the NFL who have more touchdowns over the last 4 or 5 games than he does. So I'm at least excited that next week matters.
Yeah.
I mean, because 3-4 weeks ago, we were like, fuck it, we're done.
So what's the scenario if they lose?
If they lose and Arizona loses, we're still in. So we don't need to win next week. If we win, we're in no matter what. If we lose, we need help from Arizona.
It's crazy, but it's crazy to me because they lost 6 games in a row in the middle of the season. And you just feel like any team that can lose 6 games in a row is not really good enough to be a playoff team.
They said on Red Zone, maybe it was during the regular broadcast, that they'd be the first team to ever make the playoffs with a 6-game losing streak.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. So yeah, I was going to say it's not a thing that happens to most playoff teams.
No, definitely not. But and also there's a little that stat is referring to 6-team playoffs. Also, we now have a 7-team
True
playoff. So that is true, but it's a little misconstrued.
Little asterisk.
Yes.
They will take it though if they can get in. But
we have a chance. That's all we can ask for.
It's nice to see. So you can't look past the fact that it's been a cake schedule,
right?
For the last 4 weeks or whatever. It's been 4-game win streak, right?
3
game.
Should be 4.
It's been a cake schedule, but during those 6-game streak, they played 3 really good teams, but then also, like we said, lost to the Lions. So it's nice to see them flip the switch and beat the teams that they should.
Right. And today they beat them hand. That game was never 41-17 close, which isn't close to begin with.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is that even a mediocre team, the reason you're mediocre is because you lose to the good teams that you play, but you beat the bad ones.
Correct.
In the middle of the season, they looked like they could have lost to anybody in the entire league. And now they've flipped that switch and they're beating the teams that they should.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the way that they're clicking right now, next week will be a really good test to see how they stand up with the football that they're playing right now. Because it's a completely different game that they're playing.
It's a great point. Because you're right. In the middle of that losing streak, they couldn't do anything on offense. Yeah. They looked like the worst offense in the NFL.
They were historically bad.
They probably were the worst offense in the NFL at that point.
They were historically bad.
For them to score, and again, against bad competition, but for them to score 30 points 4 games in a row, that's something that I don't even know if I've ever seen that in my lifetime as a Bears fan.
Yeah, we haven't. It hasn't happened since 1977 or 67.
Well, there you
Andy
go.
Tannehill just had like a 50-yarder.
I'm on a delay.
Oh, my bad. I mean, he didn't have a 50-yarder.
As long as it's not to Henry, then.
No, it wasn't, but that would have helped us. Oh, but it would have hurt you gotcha.
Yeah.
So the 3 of us have a fantasy team in a big fantasy league, and we're playing for the Toilet Bowl championship, but Pat and Andy are playing against each other in a championship for the best fantasy football league around. So
correct.
We're very intertwined.
They needed a Derrick Henry 45-yard touchdown there, not a Ryan Tannehill. Come on.
So here's
keep it close though. Keep it close.
The thing with the Packers, I mean, Andy, and you said Derrick Henry should rush for 300 yards because their rush defense is so awful. The problem is they score every time they have the ball, and teams, I feel like they give up on the rush early because they're always down early. So when you have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, you can afford to have a bad rush defense. I
was saying to Pat before, I was shocked at how much they were throwing the ball this game, but it's what it is.
Yeah.
It looks like the weather has kind of subsided a little bit. So
yep, but it's supposed to get foggy now.
Oh, good.
Perfect. I was talking to my father-in-law earlier, though, and it's kind of crazy. The NFL feels the most wide open I think that it's felt in a long time.
I
Because
would agree with
the
that.
Chiefs are 14-1, but that game today, they're not blowing anyone out. They're just winning.
They've looked beatable.
They're
Very
playing,
beatable.
They're basically playing to the opponent's level every game.
Yep.
And you can easily lose that way. And they should have been in overtime today. My boy Young Ho went out and backed it up.
Dude, he got you what, -1 today?
-1.
Mm-hmm.
He's been balling
What
all
the
season,
fuck?
but that's beside the point. It just, and in the NFC, the fact that there's 3 different teams that could win the number 1 seed next week
Mm-hmm.
just tells
And
you everything you need to know.
all of them have their own weaknesses.
Exactly, and none of them, like if Seattle ended up as the number 1 seed, that would be,
I'd be
to me,
shocked.
that would be like such a weak
No
number
way.
1 seed.
Right.
No way.
But it's possible.
Oh, it's
It
possible
happened.
for sure, but
And then in the AFC, it's like the Steelers were undefeated a few weeks ago, and I mean they had a nice comeback win today, but
they
wheels
stink.
looked
They're
like they
leaking
were
oil,
falling off.
man.
Yeah.
They're leaking oil
They're
for sure.
soft.
So and then the Browns 10-win team, they lose to the Jets today. It just you never know.
In their defense, they're missing their top 4 wide receivers.
Yeah, but just it's wide open. That's why as a Bears fan, you just have to hope that they can get in, and you see what happens. We've seen it before. The 9-7 Giants.
Yeah, they're hitting their stride like at the right time.
If it's me and we make the playoffs, give me the Saints first round. I want no part of the Packers first round, but in a dome, controlled climate, Drew Brees is not Drew Brees anymore. He is a shell of his former self. No Michael Thomas. Granted, Alvin Kamara scored 6 touchdowns, but I'll stick my buddy Roquan Smith on him all game and hope that works. Although the Bears, all they had to do was stop him the time they played them in Chicago, and it didn't work. So again, easier said than done.
What's the scenario where the Bears play the winner of the NFC East? Because that's the scenario.
Yeah, right.
That scenario does not exist.
I don't think it exists.
No.
I think they're playing
Bucs-
number
Highest
two seed no matter what, right?
No, because the Bears can still get the 6th seed. If the Bears win next week and Arizona wins, the Bears are in at 6, Arizona's in at 7.
So the 6th seed would play
Yeah, then the 6th seed we would play
the NFC East.
Because there'd be 3, 6,
They'd
2,
be the
7.
3.
No, they're not. They're going to be the 4 or 5. They're going to be the 4 seed.
They'll be the 3 seed because the
They're the
division
NFC
winners.
East?
Yeah,
The division winners
They
are
have a
going to be the
home
top
game.
3. That's how it always is.
yeah. They'll have
Yeah,
a
I
home
know,
game.
but they're not. They'd be the division winners are the North, East, South, and West. So, how would they be the 3 seed?
Oh, you're right. So there's
They'd
4
be the
division
4
Oh,
winners.
yeah,
There's
you're
4
right. They
division
would be
winners, yeah.
4. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So it's 5 and 4. So the Bucks are locked in to play the. Well, fuck that. That's like such a cakewalk for them.
Right?
Bucks.
It's wild. Oh, freaking Tom.
So then,
but that
okay,
team's
so
not
the-
winning shit either.
So then the Bears will most likely end up. They'll play either the Saints,
The
or
Saints
the Seahawks.
or the Seahawks, yeah.
Give me the Seahawks then.
I'd take the Seahawks for sure.
Oh, me too.
That team
forgot
sucks.
it. Yeah. So yeah, they're not. Man, Russ and DK were doing so well for our big league earlier, and then
Did he step out, Jim?
he stepped out. Yep. But they called hike. They didn't review it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he definitely stepped out. But they were able to
Damn.
get the playoff.
Okay.
Damn.
Good.
But yeah, like you said, Jim, for the Bears, just given where things felt only 2 weeks ago,
Right. Yeah.
it's the fact that they control their own destiny now is pretty crazy. It's all you can ask.
Yeah.
You just got to try and get in.
Right, because then who knows? Who knows what happens? I mean, we were talking in text threads. I text you guys, blow the whole thing up. We're talking about you have to trade Mac, you have to trade Fuller, you have to trade Hicks. I mean, we're talking about blowing this whole damn thing up. And honest to God, if they didn't stop that, if skidding and say they only won one of these last couple of games, you probably are considering that. But
What's wild is
winning cures everything.
it does, but I don't think you're a better team for it.
No, not necessarily, but maybe we also weren't as worse or as bad as we thought we were.
See, here's the thing. I think it's a combination of kind of not even backing in, but just finding pieces on your offensive line that are better than what you had. Like you didn't have. So my whole thing about this is I feel like it's more of a coaching thing than like a Ryan Pace thing. Like I've actually kind of loosened my grip on how I feel about Ryan Pace, because you have these guys that are on the roster with, like we mentioned before, Mustafa and Bars, who you know,
Who saved our season,
went to
essentially.
Notre Dame, had high pedigrees, didn't get drafted for injury reasons, basically, and they're on the roster. Pace, you know, signed these guys, but Nagy failed in having his best players on the field. So, you know, in my opinion, it's more of an issue with coaching evaluating talent than necessarily like the front office evaluating talent. But you mentioned before, Jim, now that Bill Lazor has been calling plays, I think Nagy has been, you know, focused more so on just the head coaching aspect. And I
Yes.
think the team has kind of rallied around
Yes.
in that same time frame. So all of those things are just the narrative that they're going to sell fans anyway when they bring everybody back for another year and bring Mitch back. But the important thing to me is that they're playing around Mitch's strengths.
Yes.
And they're playing what the best way they can to win. Not everybody can play the same game plan and win football games. They're playing to their strengths.
Right.
And that's something that like Nagy's just been so stubborn to the point, like he wants to use his system.
Agreed.
Now they're just playing to the strengths, and all of a sudden the offense looks more than competent.
Right.
So, you know, if they can just keep playing like this and get in, that's all you can ask.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up with some generalized movie reviews. We had some big name releases dropped.
Generalized movie reviews.
Yep, generalized movie reviews. HBO Max dropped Wonder Woman. That was big news that dropped a few weeks ago. And then Disney Pixar released Soul, starring Jamie Foxx. And all right, just again, these are no spoiler reviews. When everyone watches them, maybe we'll do, you know, maybe the Bandit will call in, give us a review.
The
Who knows
Bandit.
who's listening. But all right, I'll start. Neither of you have seen Wonder Woman yet.
That is correct.
What I will say is that I saw a lot of stuff online calling it like the worst superhero movie ever made and all this
come
stuff.
on.
Not warranted. That's for sure. It was fine. That's pretty much as general as I can get. I mentioned to Andy one thing that I was most concerned about going in was how they were going to able to bring Steve back into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want it to be some stupid hokey thing. And I think they did a good job with that. So I was satisfied there, but I mentioned it was just fine. I'm just going to say that without it wasn't the worst superhero movie ever, but it definitely wasn't the best. And it wasn't as good as the first one.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
Definitely watch it if you have HBO Max.
Right.
There's no reason not to.
I'm glad you gave that, and I'm glad somebody saw it, because I was about to not watch it based on what I read.
Oh wow.
Like I was at that point of reading reviews and seeing the stuff on Twitter. I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is even worth my time. Like, but I am glad that somebody watched it and said it wasn't as bad as, and obviously we have generally the same movie tastes and
Generally
whatnot. So
same movie taste.
Generally the same movie taste.
Okay, so question. Are we watching DC movies expecting them to be Marvel movies? Like, are we not watching them the correct way, or are they just not as
no,
good?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
Just
mean,
curious.
Again, I haven't seen this one, but my expectation for it before even the bad stuff came out was that it should rival the first Wonder Woman.
Okay.
And I didn't think Wonder Woman was like a top 5 superhero movie for me, but it was
No,
certain
probably the best.
in
DC
my mind the
movie,
best
which isn't
DC
saying
one.
much.
Right, exactly.
Right, exactly. It was the best DC movie, but
So that's where I put my expectations for that movie.
Okay.
And I think that's as high as they should go, to be honest, because they haven't done anything to make us think otherwise.
Right. I mean, when we think about DC, their movies have been so bad that they're now paying a director to redo a first movie for them in the quote unquote Snyder cut, which to me is already said. Like, I'm very excited about that movie, but people are going to die on the Zack Snyder hill and say, this is the greatest, this is such a great movie. We should have seen this from the beginning because they wanted it to come out. So I don't know, man. DC I wish they just get it together.
I'm not convinced that whatever Zack Snyder had could have been that much better
than what what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Ended up with. I mean,
do you have any updates on the Batman?
On Matt Reeves, the Batman?
Yes, Matt Reeves, the Batman.
I haven't gotten any updates on Matt Reeves, the Batman lately. I'll have to reach out to Matt Reeves to see, since it's his movie.
I mean, like, I've heard nothing, no whispers, anything.
Yeah, I haven't either.
The last thing I heard was that Robert Pattinson was being a pain in the ass.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked.
How so?
That.
We did?
Just being a big old dick and stuff.
There was creative differences.
Classic creative differences. Okay, so Soul. Andy and I both watched Soul. So I'll let Andy give his general review.
General review.
First.
I really, really enjoyed Soul. I thought it was not what I expected.
Same.
From seeing the preview, this is no spoilers, but like the guy dies, and I kind of envisioned it was going to be like a post-life story about this guy, and it's just not. Like, it is and it isn't, and I won't go into any more, but it wasn't what I expected. Pleasantly surprised that it wasn't what I expected either. So the whole message and what it got across, I thought it was very I don't want to say informative, but kind of like how Inside Out was a good teaching movie for kids about emotions and things like that. I thought this did a good job of kind of the reason for life and death also, but I thought it was very informative in that way for little kids. But the story was really good. It had a lot of good comedy, good like adult jokes and whatnot that are always mixed into those. So I really enjoyed it. I'd probably give it like 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10.
All right.
Thought it was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It wasn't what I was expecting, in the sense that I actually thought there was gonna be more music. So
same. I talked to Lena about that as well, and
that makes me happy because I'm not
both
a fan
agreed
of the music.
I was kind of a little bit disappointed though, because I like jazz music. So I thought it was, but it was still cool. Pixar is just so clever and creative with the way that they're able to. Because again, you mentioned like there was like parts of it that were like Inside Out, and there was other parts of it that was like Coco. So they generally they generally stick around a familiar theme, but they do it in a way that's different with each movie. But to your point, Andy, I do think it was like a really good like life lesson.
Yeah.
Or it did a really good job of kind of shining on why you should just appreciate life.
Right.
But yeah, Jamie Foxx voices the main character, and then Tina Fey is like the second
side
main,
character.
So, but yeah, it was just again, they're just so clever with the way that they do all these movies. But yeah, for me, it was I felt like it was kind of similar to Coco, and like to me, Coco is one of the best that Pixar has ever done, for sure. Maybe even the best.
Coco was phenomenal.
And I just tend to like that one a little bit better because of the music. Like there was more music involved. But yeah, it was classic Pixar, and I would definitely I'd put it in like the high 7, like low 8 range. It was really good. Solid movie weekend. It was definitely the better of the 2 movies that I watched. I'll say that much.
Okay, good to know.
And now we have to look forward to the future of movies with being able to stream them directly to our home. Now, one thing I thought that was kind of interesting was that Wonder Woman's only going to be streaming for 30 days. And then
I saw that as well, and I
taking it
didn't
down.
really get that.
I don't understand that either.
I did not know
I
that.
don't know if that means that they'll have like extended theatrical releases where it'll give it some time to try and coop extra money that way, but thought that was interesting.
Very.
Agreed.
All right, dudes, anything else you want to throw in there?
That's all I got, fellers.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate all of our condiments out there. We love you guys. If you don't already, though, follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Bros Let's Talk. Subscribe to our YouTube page where we post our video episodes. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Play Podcasts, or pretty much anywhere else podcasts are found. Our podcast lives at anchor.fm/Bros Let's Talk. And our website is brosletstalk.com. For Jimmy and Andy, this is Pat. Edited.
See you, bruss.